Hello and welcome to this video. Today we're taking a look at multi-charts and we're going to talk about how to add studies and customize studies as well as having multiple studies on one chart. So let's go ahead and get started here. You can see I just have multi-charts open here with a regular ES chart, but you can use studies on a variety of different instruments and chart types. So let's go ahead and jump right in. There are a few ways that you can actually add studies in multi-charts. One of them is using the right mouse click menu. So if I right mouse click here, you'll see that there is a option here for insert study. So I'm going to click on that for now. Now from here we have a menu with a lot of different studies that we can choose from. For example, if I just choose the top one here, market depth on chart, we'll select OK, and then we have another window that opens up here, and this is to actually format this study on your chart. So you can change things like the parameters for it as well as how it looks, and we'll go through a little bit about that in a moment here as well. So if I select OK, we then have that show up on our chart. In this case, it happens to be the market depth, so that will show up on our chart here. So you can see that right on our same panel that we have our regular price bars on. And I can right mouse click on that. You can see that I can choose to format that, so I can change things like that. I can also remove it if I wanted to, but what we can also do is you're not limited to just one study. We can add other studies on our chart as well, so we don't have to choose just one and then open up another chart. We can actually have multiple ones on our same chart. So another way that we can do that is to actually add a study is to use our toolbar here. So we have kind of a line here with a plus, and that will be the insert study button here on our toolbar. So if I click on that, we'll get that same window that opens up. So whether it's that right mouse click menu or you want to use the toolbar, either one is fine. They get you to the same place, just happens to be kind of personal preference. So for example here, we'll choose the ADX and then we'll select OK here to add it to our chart. It gives us another option here, again, that format window. We can change things like the color of it, also the parameters. So the look back period here for the ADX happens to be 14 days. If I wanted to make that longer or shorter, all I need to do is select that and just type that in. We'll go ahead and leave it at the standard default here for now though. Then we'll select OK here, and now we have that ADX plotted on our chart. So we can see the ADX here. We also have the market depth on our chart. Again, if I wanted to just have one of those, again, I could always just remove one of these. So we'll remove the market depth on our chart here for now. So I'll remove that study. And now we have the ADX plotted on our chart. Now it happens to plot in the bottom panel by default, but we can move it. All we need to do is click it and then drag it. So I can actually drag it directly on our price bars if I wanted to and have it in the same panel. I can drag it above as well, and you'll see that it kind of switches out there. Of course, we can always adjust the dividers here between that just by kind of clicking in between those two, so we can make that a little bit smaller or larger. So depending on how you wanted to format that, of course, you can always move these around again, either to the top or the bottom or directly on the price bars as well. So let's go ahead and put this one in the bottom panel. We'll leave it in its default location for now. Again, we can add more just by right mouse clicking and selecting the insert study button. So in this case, I want to actually add maybe a Keltner channel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'll scroll down here in just a moment and we'll select the Keltner channel. So we'll scroll down to the K's here and we found the Keltner channel option. So I'll select OK, and that'll plot the Keltner channels directly on our price bars. Now there's one thing that we want to pay attention to, and I'll add one more study on our chart just to kind of show you this, and this is the actual position of the indicators. So if we wanted to add multiple studies in, I'll just add another moving average. Now the moving average is also going to plot here, but what you notice is the moving average happens to be the same color as the top Keltner channel line. So it could be easy to kind of get those confused. So what we could do in this case is I could select the actual moving average here. I'll right mouse click and select format. So one thing we can do with this is go to the style option. The style option gives us the option to actually change the colors or the styles as well as the thickness of the lines. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to actually change the color. I'm going to change this to an orange color, and you can see that changed already. But I also want to make it a little bit more prominent. So if I go to the weight option, we can actually make that a little bit bigger. And maybe one more here, and you'll see that a little bit more prominently. So now I can pick out my moving average from my Keltner channel. You see it's a little bit bigger. It's also a different color, so that way I can tell between those a little bit easier. Another thing though is you'll notice if we kind of zoom in on our chart here as well, is we see that our Keltner channel here and our moving average happen to be above the price bars. And one thing you can do is you can actually adjust the order of display here. So if I select the moving average, maybe I want to have the moving average behind the Keltner channel and the price bars. You can see it's above both right now. So if I right mouse click, we have an option called visual order. So I can actually send it one backwards. So in this case, it would just put it behind the Keltner channel, and you can see it is behind the Keltner channel now. But I also want to have it behind the price bars. So I can change that visual order here to send to back. So if I send to back, that will send it all the way behind the price bars. So now we have the moving average behind the price bars, and then it goes for the price bars and then the Keltner channel. But I can also move my Keltner channel back one. So if I select that visual order here, I'll send backward here, since I don't want it to be behind the moving average, but I do want it to be behind my price bars. So now I have that set up here. So the visual order here is first I'll see my price bars, then the Keltner channel, and then the moving average if they happen to overlap on our chart. So just another quick way to kind of see those and adjust the visual order for ones that happen to be on the same panel. Now I'm going to get rid of my ADX, and another way that we can get rid of that instead of right mouse clicking and selecting remove study is to just click this X button here. You can see in the left hand corner of it, and that will remove it pretty quickly there for us. Now I want to add in a momentum, so I'm going to go ahead and select insert study. We'll scroll down to the momentum. It happens to already be on here, and I'm going to show you another thing that we can customize. So I'm going to select OK here, and I'll select OK again. And now we have the momentum plotted in our bottom panel here. Now I like how that looks, but generally I like to use personally a momentum indicator or study as a histogram. And you can see currently it's just a line that kind of crosses above and below the 0 line here. So we can see the momentum, but if I wanted to change that to a histogram, that's absolutely possible. So I'm just going to select this, the momentum study here. I'll right mouse click and we'll select format momentum. That brings up another line here. So one thing we can do is we can change the type. So before on the moving average we changed the weight and the color here, but on the momentum study here we can actually change another thing called the type, and that can change it from a line to some other options. You can see all these different options, and one of them is a histogram. So I'm going to change this to a histogram here, and you'll see that automatically changed pretty quickly for us. So now I have a histogram here, and I have my other studies here as well, just as regular lines. So you can kind of customize that to your own personal preferences. Maybe you want to view certain studies with lines or other options, or some of them as a histogram like we're reviewing our momentum. So now I can see the momentum build up a little bit easier for me personally just by using that histogram option. So most of these studies are completely customizable. You can change things like how they're displayed. Instead of just a line, you can use a histogram. You can also change the visual order of them or the colors, as well as the weight or kind of the line thickness like we did with the moving average, just by using that format study menu. So whether you want to add it using that toolbar or the right mouse click menu, you have a couple different options there for your studies. If you have any questions about using studies within Multicharts, please feel free to give us a call or visit our website at www.optimusfutures.com.